My story is not a typical Northern Kentucky story. I didn't grow up here. I don't go to the grocery store and see 10 people that I know. I didn't move into a house and already know everyone in the neighborhood, but my wife grew up here. And while you might think the dots are starting to connect, her family and how great the area is wasn't what brought us back to Edgewood. My wife grew up in Edgewood. She went to St. Pius, then Notre Dame, played soccer at UK. And after college, she took her first job and moved to California for what was going to be a year or two to build a resume. And then we met. And I'm originally from Montana, but my baseball career took me to California, then Florida, then back to California, where we lived for 15 years. We started our life together. We had 3 amazing kids, and then 2020 happened. We found out that we were going to have our 4th child in January of 2020, just as the pandemic was breaking. And in March of 2020, my wife went in for a normal checkup. But because of COVID, I wasn't allowed to go with her. When she came home from the doctor had noticed something on her ultrasound that he thought wasn't a big deal, but figured we should go get it checked out at UCLA with a specialist. She went to the specialist a couple weeks later, and that's when we were told that our son, who was going to be born, was going to have congenital heart disease. And he was going to need surgery within the first couple days after being born. Needless to say, our lives instantly changed. And being somebody that likes to plan, then execute on a plan, I still started building out a list of questions for the doctors. When we met with the specialists at UCLA a second time, I was able to go. And one of the first questions I asked was, who is the best surgeon? He assured us that they had great surgeons at USC and UCLA Children's Hospitals, and they were all close to where we lived, but then he said, but there's this guy who's known all over the world for this type of surgery. And I've done some work with him in the past, and he's at Cincinnati Children's Hospital. My wife and I looked at each other in shock, and I knew right then and there that we were moving back to Kentucky. We packed everything we owned, and in 6 weeks during the middle of a pandemic, we moved our lives and 3 kids and a pregnant wife from California to Kentucky. Our son was born in September of 2020. He had his surgery 7 days after being born and has been checking off every milestone the doctors have given him since. Our son and our move have been one of the biggest blessings of our lives. And while it wasn't a conventional route to Kentucky, we wouldn't have changed a thing.